welcome to my new Christmas review thing that I will be doing for you. So I just got done reviewing all of the Krampus films that currently exist, I believe, and so now that I have no more Krampus movies to review for you guys, I am now going to be reviewing some of the older classic Christmas horror films, just because, I don't know, why not? And this classic Christmas film that I will be reviewing for you today is called Christmas Evil. It is also known as You Better Watch Out, and it is directed by a man named Lewis Jackman. Christmas Evil is a film made in 1980 about a man who wears a Santa suit and goes on a killing spree on Christmas Eve. And if that plot sounds familiar to you, and if you think that there was already a movie like that, then you're right. There is a film like that, and that film is called Silent Night, Deadly Night. And this film as well features a man in a Santa suit going on a killing spree. But regardless of the similarities between the two, this one was made in 1984. As I mentioned, Christmas Evil was made in 1980. So Christmas Evil was the first one to feature a man in a Santa suit going on a killing spree. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Silent Night, Deadly Night or not, but back when this very first came out, it was extremely controversial, and it actually still is to this day, because the poster featured a man, you know, in a Santa suit, with an axe, as you can see, probably from the poster right here or something. Nope, stop, that way, there you go, right there. It was very controversial due to its poster, due to its subject matter, and due to the fact that it features a Santa Claus killing people. And people did not like that. A lot of kids got nightmares, and just the entire film just kind of was very controversial. However, nobody has really heard of Christmas Evil, and for some reason, even though that film came before Silent Night, Deadly Night, it was not as controversial. In fact, I don't think anybody really talked about it, even though with this film, it also shows, you know, a guy in a Santa suit going on a killing spree. So, I don't know, maybe it's just because this one just was a little bit more well-known, and this one wasn't, but for some reason, this one was kind of forgotten. But this is the original film with a man in a Santa suit going on a killing spree. And the plot to this Killer Santa movie is quite simple. It starts off with a young boy who actually catches Santa Claus feeling up on his mom on the night of Christmas Eve. And this really pisses off the little boy, because that's how, you know, he finds out that Santa Claus isn't real and how it's just his dad in a Santa suit. And he's getting freaky with his mom. But, so the kid just kind of, like, runs to his attic, and then he breaks a snow globe, and then he cuts himself. And then now we're fast-forwarding 33 years later, where Harry is an adult. I did forget to mention that part. His name is Harry, and, Harry, is quite obsessed with Christmas. You can really tell he loves it, since there's, like, Christmas all over, you know, decorations all in his apartment and whatnot, and he treats every day like it's Christmas, essentially. And Harry actually works at a toy factory, and this whole thing takes place, you know, of course, around Christmas time. One day, Harry finds out that a lot of the people do not like him. They think he's kind of a loony head, and he is upset for that reason, and, you know, his coworkers are kind of mean to him, so one night he just kind of snaps, and then he has a mental breakdown, and he starts to believe that he really is Santa Claus. So what he does is he, you know, gets into that Santa Claus suit, and then he grabs a beard, and then voila, he's Santa Claus. And, but this is kind of weird what happens. And I didn't expect this to happen, but, he's not necessarily, like, a bad Santa, you know? He doesn't, like, automatically starts off by, like, going and killing people. What he actually does is he takes a lot of the toys from his toy factory. He breaks in one night and steals all the toys, and then he goes to this hospital, which I assume, like, the kids have cancer or something. They're very sick is the point. It's a hospital. But, so yeah, he's kind of doing, like, a good cause here, where he's just giving away toys to good children. And then he, like, ends up going to, like, a bunch of these weird parties, and then he eventually gives, like, those children toys and presents, and you're starting to think, like, hey, he actually kind of is Santa Claus, like, he's a jolly old dude. But then, of course, he kind of starts going crazy, and he starts going on a killing spree, and killing, like, seriously killing anybody who makes fun of him, or, you know, who just people he doesn't like, people who have essentially been naughty this year, he just goes out and kills. And I forgot to mention this part as well, that before he had his mental breakdown, and before he thought he was actually Santa Claus, he would actually, it's very creepy what he does, but he would watch over, his neighbor's kids, the neighborhood kids, and he, you know, he would have binoculars and spy at them, to check if they're being nice or naughty. And there's this one specific child who was looking like at a porn magazine or something, and he wrote the child's name down in his naughty book. Like it's called a naughty boys and girls book, girls and boys book or something like that. He wrote the name down in it, so like he was kind of really actually checking if there were kids being naughty and nice. And then later on in the film, he just kind of left a bag of dirt at the doorstep. So he doesn't necessarily kill children. In fact, you can kind of tell he loves children in this film because, I mean, after all, he's given like all these kids toys. But who he's really killing in this film are, like I said, just people who are mean to him, who think he's a lunatic, and just people he doesn't like and people who he thinks is naughty. So there you go. That pretty much sums up Christmas Evil for you. It's a pretty fun movie. It's very, very cheesy. It's a very cheesy slasher film, as you could probably imagine. Of course, it has, you know, all that 80s cheese to it. The acting is pretty, you know, 80s acting. And yeah, it's a good time though. Just because it's cheesy doesn't mean it's bad. I still had a lot of fun while watching this movie, and there is even like at one point in the film where I started to think this was a lot less of like a cheesy slasher film and a bit more of like a psychological horror type movie, because I know that's kind of weird to say considering the fact that you're probably judging it by the poster right now, and the poster does make it look a little cheesy. But, I mean, at times in the film, you kind of do think that it feels more of like a psychological horror rather than like a cheesy slasher film, because of the fact that, you know, he has a mental breakdown and he really does think he's Santa Claus at one point, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. It's almost like a character study at one point. But yeah, and then of course, you know, at the third act, things get a little bit cheesy and he starts going on that killing spree. He doesn't kill a lot of people in this film. I believe he only kills like 4 maybe. 4 or 5, I don't know, around there, but yeah, I mean, it's just a fun movie to watch, honestly. And one thing that I didn't expect from this film is that I actually kind of felt sad for Harry in this movie, the main guy. I felt a bit sad for him because, you know, he's giving these toys to these sick children at the hospital, and then he's going around the neighborhood giving children toys. Like, you know, he's doing a good cause, and he really does think he's Santa Claus, and I mean, I just felt bad for him towards the end because, you know, of course people are, like, afraid of him because, you know, people begin to recognize the fact that he's a murderer and that he's killing people. And I just felt bad for him because, you know, although he is a lunatic, he is doing a good cause for children. And even though he did kill people who were very mean people who were naughty, I still did feel a little bit bad for him. And, you know, he was a little sick. All he needed was a little bit of help. He had a bit of mental problems, a bit of a mental illness, obviously, since he thinks he's Santa Claus, but, yeah, I just felt kind of sad for him. I do gotta say, though, the best part about this film is by far the very ending, like the very last 2 minutes of this film are phenomenal. In fact, the very last shot, I think it is like the best thing about this film, and I highly suggest you watch this movie just for that ending, because the ending is wonderful. Like, I know there's a lot of people out there who think it's stupid, but it's so great. I'm not gonna spoil it for you, I just kind of want you to see it for yourself, but the ending is just so ridiculous and so corny that it's just, I loved it. It is awesome. But yeah, I love the ending to this film. That's definitely the best part about it. And overall, the film was pretty fun, as I mentioned. It's a very good, fun, cheesy 80s slasher film. And although I do recommend watching Silent Night, Deadly Night more because I just think it's a better film overall in terms of like a movie about a killer Santa Claus, this was still a fun one. And of course, this was the very first one that ever came out. This was much before Silent Night, Deadly Night. So yeah, I suggest giving this one a chance. I'm gonna recommend you guys check this movie out. It's pretty fun. But yeah, so overall, I'm probably gonna give Christmas Evil a 3.5 out of 5. I genuinely enjoyed this film. I had a good time watching it, and honestly, it did kind of surprise me a little bit because I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. But I really ended up enjoying it. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, I of course would recommend you guys to check out this film. And that is it for this review, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I just realized that I have been holding my coffee mug in my hand the whole time, and my coffee is just kind of sitting here. It's getting a little cold, so I better drink it up. But yeah, so anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Jacob Palacio. Be sure to stay tuned for more Christmas horror film reviews in the near future, and I will see you guys later.